Let's talk about what we're doing to white people. There's been something going on for a while now that we're being told not to notice. More to the point, that we're asking white people not only to ignore, but to accept. The rising tide of racial hatred against white people. In the past decade, there has been a noticeable cultural shift in what constitutes acceptable speech as it relates to white people. Back when I was a kid, in the early 2000s, the mainstream American culture preached about respecting each other's differences and not seeing color. Nowadays, we say that not seeing color is racism, that you must see color. But the more I see how things are unfolding, the more I'm convinced that this is wrong. Back then, saying something offhanded about white people were seen as not appropriate, just as it would be to say something offhanded about people of any other race. But that soon gave way to our current times, in which there exists virtually no limit to what racial minorities can and do say about white people.
Well, look who we have on stage with us today. If it isn't the new face of white apologists, Mr. Charlie C. himself, a Korean American who decided, hey, ease up off white people. Leave them alone. We have got to stop victimizing white Americans. What it do? This is Brother Bishop of Bishop's Own TV, and oh my God. White Americans, you have your savior, you have your ally. Charlie is here to save you. He's here to save you. You know, when I saw this video, I said, is he being serious? Is he being for real? And for a second, if you just watch this video, as ridiculous as it sounds, I know it doesn't sound very ridiculous to a lot of racist white Americans and non-black Americans, even self-hating black Americans. I know what he's saying doesn't sound out of pocket, but for a second, I thought, okay, he's being genuine in his rhetoric, in his caping for white Americans. But then I stumbled on his channel and I looked at more of his videos, and then I said, this is not a guy who's concerned about a rising racism towards white Americans. This is a guy who's anti-black. And I know he's anti-black because he has several videos covering the topic of black people in this country being anti-Asian. Yes, look on his channel. Majority of his videos, and he doesn't have a lot of videos, but the majority of his videos cover the topic of anti-Asian rhetoric in the black community. And then this when it hit me, I said, he doesn't care about, I'm pretty sure he cares about white people. I mean, look at him. I'm pretty sure he has a white boyfriend somewhere. And so he's doing a lot of projection or a lot of projecting, excuse my French, but he's doing a lot of projecting, a lot of coddling, because in some of the criticisms that white Americans get, well, that's what it is. It's not necessarily racism. Yes, there are some outlandish incidents, some singular incidents out there that he can bring up from TikTok or whatever, where you see some crazy ass Negroes or whoever discussing some ridiculous claims on white people in general. And I'm talking about just some, I'll give you a perfect example. There was a sister who said white people shouldn't go see Wakanda Forever on opening day. Let black people have a week or two to watch it, and then y'all can watch it. He's speaking about claims like that, which is not common. That's not common. But criticisms or responses to racism perpetrated by white people against black people is not racist. But that has been going on for ages and ages. That's pretty much what he's speaking on, is that now in mainstream America, there has been open discussions in holding white people accountable for racist attitudes and challenging white supremacy on a mainstream scale. that in itself is considered racist. The fact that, hey, we're acknowledging as a society, which is bullshit anyway. I mean, you're not gonna figure any of this stuff out on a mainstream level in general. No matter if it's CNN, MSNBC, Fox, or whatever. All these publications are full of shit anyway, right? But the assumption is that just to acknowledge that there could be some racist attitudes amongst white people, or even discussing something such as critical race theory in public schools, that's the real racism. And this is what he's basically talking about. And I said to myself, on the surface, this one video seems justifiable, right? To the untrained eye. But then I said, well, you know what? This guy's presenting himself to be fair and balanced. He's presenting himself to be a critical thinker. Yet he's disingenuous and dishonest about anti-black rhetoric and anti-black sentiments in his own community. Why is he so concerned with the black community? Did somebody bully him? Is somebody targeting him? I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I know this he lives in Philadelphia. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that this dude, even living in Philadelphia, where there's a lot of black folks, that he doesn't necessarily interact with black people in real life. I know he doesn't, because he uses viral clips to get his point across. Which, by the way, since we want to do viral clips, let me post up a viral clip showing him or showing people what his community thinks about black people. Roll that beautiful beam footage.
흑인들이 겪는 인종차별에 대해서 좀 보려고 합니다. 네. 볼까요? 네. 네.
Hey guys, it's Steve from Asian Boss. Like many other Asian countries, South Korea is a relatively homogenous society with a Korean ethnic group accounting for almost 96% of the total population.
96. 진짜 높다.
Famous black entertainer in Korea made headlines when he recalled instances where he was personally discriminated against because of the color of his skin.
학교 다녔을 때 2호선 타고 계속 왔다 갔다 했거든요. 어떤 아주머님이 빨리 뛰어가서 그 자리에 앉는 거예요. 다리 쫙 펴고 앉지 말라고. 까마귀가 한국에서 뭐 하느냐고.
어머.
본인의 나라로 돌아가라고. 그런 식으로 그냥 대놓고 차별하는 거예요.
우리나라 좋아서 와주면 고마운 거 아닌가?
그러니까.
So we thought we'll take this opportunity to find out about Korean people's perception towards black people. Let's see what they have to say. 한국 사회에서 한국 사람들이 흑인에 대해서 어떤 편견이나 선입견을 가지고 있는 것 같나요? 예를 들어서 뭐 어디 출신일지, 아니면 뭐 성격은 어떨지, 어떤 직업을 가졌을지 등등.
아프리카에서 왔다고 그렇게 생각을 주로 할 것 같고, 아무래도 좀 놀리는 약간 그런 것들.
어떤 직업을 가질 수가 있나요?
그냥 예술 예술이거나 힘을 쓰거나 그런 거.
스포츠 같은.
네.
이제 싸우면은 무조건 진다. 힘이 굉장히 강하다. 제가 이제 농구를 굉장히 좋아하는데 이제 스포츠 같은 걸 해도 이제 굉장히 차이가 많이 나니까 동양인들이랑 해서 그런 선입견이 가장 강한 것 같아요.
저희 또래는 딱히 그렇게 막 꺼리는 건 없는데 아무래도 부모님 세대가 약간 백인, 흑인 이런 게 좀 있는 것 같아요.
어떤 식으로 정확하게 선입견이 있어요?
그러니까 막 흑인은 막 위험하다 이런 선입견이 많이 있는 것 같아요. 막 영화에서도 막 총 쏘고 막 마약하고 이런 것 때문에.
맞아. 미디어가 문제인 것 같아.
그냥 길거리만 가다가 흑인분들이라고 막 많이 쳐다보고 막 흑형 얘기하는 거는 좀 많이 들어봤습니다.
흑인들이 직접 당한 거 뉴스 미디어를 통해서 들은 적은 있는데 직접 본 적은 없어.
어떤 얘기를 들으셨어요?
흑인 학생분이 영어학원에서 가르치려고 강사로 그 시험을 보러 갔는데 거기서 우리는 백인 아니면 안 받는다 이래서 네, 그런 글을 봤었어요. 뉴스에.
진짜 미친 거 아니야? 그러니까. 와, 열받아.
군복무 할 때도 주변 상인들이 그런 편견을 대놓고 이렇게 보여주시더라고요.
놀리는 것 같아요. 굉장히 이제 말을 못 알아듣는다고 생각을 하고 이제 뭐 깜둥이 뭐 깜씨 뭐 이런 식으로 피부색으로 이제 기분 나쁘게 계속 조롱하는 거를 가끔 듣거든요.
그래요?
예.
어디서요?
이제 뭐 길거리 다닐 때 뭐 이렇게 흑인분들 지나가면은 뭐
많이들 그러는 거 같긴
사람들이 이제 얘기하는 게 들리는데 그런 거 가끔씩 듣거든요.
욕하진 않아도 많이
Now, Mr. Charlie, where is the outrage for racism against black people in the Korean community? Why are you not speaking against that? Because that actually pertains to you because you're of Korean descent. Why only focus on anti-Asian rhetoric? Which, by the way, if I'm being honest, as a black American, I can honestly say that yes, throughout my life, I've heard racist comments towards Asian people. This is true. I've heard it all my life. I'm not saying I hear it every day. And even if you hear it one time, yeah, that's a problem. But see, I can acknowledge that there is some racist attitudes, some racist sentiments towards Asian people of different ethnicities. Guess what? I hate to bust your bubble, but in America, and hell on planet Earth, a lot of people are racist towards one another. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm not condoning that. I'm acknowledging that. But why don't you acknowledge the anti-black rhetoric in your community? See, is it really about anti-Asian racism? Is it really about that? Or is it about black people? Is it because you don't like black people? Because as we've seen on this video clip, since we're taking viral video clips and generalizing people based on these singular incidents, then it's safe to assume that you grew up with those same sentiments of black people, because it's pretty common in Korean culture to look at black people as thugs or savages or people who are brutes who can't comprehend English, are not very intelligent, just purely there for entertainment purposes and athletic purposes. Right? Because what did they do in that video? What is something that they said that seemed to be pretty common? That a lot of their observations on black people and black culture, a lot of their stereotypes stem from what? Media's perception on black people. And it's funny that you use media talking points, viral videos, to generalize black people and paint this entire picture of black Americans based off the media's perception. You're not concerned about white people. You're not concerned about the victimization of white people, because you know that's bullshit. Because if you were that concerned about white Americans, and also that concerned about anti-Asian sentiments, growing anti-Asian culture in America, why don't you speak about the report that I found about anti-Asian sentiments and anti-Asian attacks are actually perpetrated by white people more so than black people? If you were that concerned about your community, then you would actually be speaking out against white people who are committing crimes against Asian people. Let's read. Let's take a look. Now, Mr. Charlie, if we look at this article right here, that you see the headlines that says most anti-Asian attacks committed by whites. New study. I didn't make this up. This is not me putting this out here, but let's read this. Despite social media generated impressions that anti-Asian violence is committed mostly by blacks, the majority of attackers are white, according to a new analysis. Janelle Wong, a professor of American Studies at the University of Maryland, College Park, released analysis last week based on official crime statistics and other studies showing more than 3/4 of offenders of anti-Asian hate crimes and incidents previous to and during the pandemic have been white. Yes, those white victims that you're showing your allyship towards. They're the main perpetrators. Let's continue. Wong told NBC Asian America that the way the media is covering and the way that people are understanding anti-Asian hate at this moment in some ways draws attention to these long-standing anti-Asian biases in U.S. society, Wong said. But the racist kind of tropes that come along with it, especially that is predominantly black people attacking Asian Americans who are elderly. That's not really an empirical basis in that. Now, this is Miss Janelle Wong. She's a professor of American Studies. This is not Janelle LaQuisha Jackson saying this. This is not Jajinsky Winowski or Gina Winowski from the liberal left saying this. This is Janelle Wong making this claim right here. This is really how crime is framed in the United States. It's framed as the source is black, Wong said. She also said that misconceptions about who perpetrates anti-Asian hate incidents can have long-term consequences for racial solidarity. And this is true because I get the impression that Charlie does not want to have solidarity with black Americans. And I don't have any issue with that. I don't have any problem with that. Trust me, Charlie. I'm not looking to be buddy-buddy with you. I mean, not with that chili bowl haircut you got, buddy. Let's continue. For a year and a half, Wong examined 9 sources and 4 types of data about anti-Asian hate incidents, including from the reporting forum Stop AAP I Hate, Pew Research, as well as official law enforcement data. Also, the founder of AAPI Data, for which Wong also works, said that the public's perception of perpetrators and victims is largely formed by the images from videos that have gone viral, which again, Mr. Charlie is using viral videos to paint a generalized, broad assumption about the black community abroad, which is over 41 million people in this country, by the way. But most security videos tend to be from low-income areas where there is more surveillance than in better off areas, creating a lopsided impression. So there you have it. You can look at the data yourself. I will provide a link for the article so you can go look at the data yourself. I'm not finna argue against viral videos that really anybody, I can post up viral videos of Asian people attacking black people in hair salons, specifically black women. And then I can paint a picture of how Asian men are racist against black women. I can do that all day. I can post up videos after videos of black people being mistreated in Asian countries. And then I can say black people don't go to Asia because they would treat you like shit. They would treat you like a circus clown. They will look at you, stare at you, take pictures of you, unwanted pictures, will touch your hair, which these incidents happen more than often in China. But I'm not finna sit here and say that all people, and not just China, different Asian groups, before you start saying, oh, see, you trying to say we're all Chinese. I didn't say that. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is this. I am not going to generalize different Asian ethnic groups as if they're all anti-black. But I do acknowledge that there's anti-blackness in Asian communities. And I will allow different Asian individuals to speak on that. I will acknowledge that there is some anti-Asian rhetoric. So I don't disagree with everything he said. Yes, there is some unfair criticisms and unfair hatred thrown on individuals. But there is a fair criticism of white Americans generally in this country that people are saying, look, in order to move ahead in this country, we need to face the racism that this country has practiced and is still practicing to this day. And that's a problem for some people. And apparently it's a problem for Mr. Charlie, who isn't necessarily aware of the history and the now of racism's role in America. He's just really annoyed and bothered by black people making complaints about said racism. That's basically what it is. So if this guy is as honest as he claims to be, I would like to see an open dialogue discussion with the community that you claim is so anti-Asian. Because apparently you don't want to have a real and honest conversation about anti-Asian rhetoric amongst white people in this country. I mean, it was white Americans, it was white politicians and influential people that were spreading anti-Asian rhetoric in the beginning of the pandemic. our president, our former president, Donald Trump, called it the China flu. It's the China flu. Remember that? Kung flu. That wasn't us. That wasn't the black community. But you don't want to speak about that because I guess it might offend your white boyfriend. So that's all I got. You know, if you love it, let me know. Don't forget to subscribe and follow. If you dislike, because I know I got a lot of people that probably won't like this video because you just want to blame everything on black folks. Let me know too. Let me know. With that said, oh, and for the record, before I go, since Mr. Charlie claimed that there's no black leaders that speak out against anti-Asian rhetoric in this country, I'm gonna show y'all this clip of Al Sharpton and a couple other black leaders in New York rallying against anti-Asian racism in this country. So since he said there's no black leaders whatsoever, he said there's no black leaders. He said this in one of his other videos. He didn't say it in this video, but you look through his channel and he did make that statement. So yeah, roll that footage. Holla.
No justice. No justice.
A universal outcry for justice among all races. This time it's the Asian community needing help.
We want Asian hate to stop. We want Asian hate to stop. And we want all hate to stop.
During a rally in Chinatown Thursday, community leaders, union members, and the Reverend Al Sharpton stood in solidarity with Asian New Yorkers, many living in fear during the pandemic when they were blamed for spreading the virus.
It is a disgrace that the former president began exacerbating these tensions, talking about Asian flu. There is no Asian flu. There's a hate flu.
And to show this community they are not alone, Sharpton brought in star power, a lethal weapon, actor Danny Glover.
It's painful, but when you turn pain and you use that pain into action, and to be here is one of those actions.
Several other celebrities are also using their voices to take action, releasing this video.
I'm Harry Belafonte. We're here today to show our support for our Asian brothers and sisters.
We have your back to say that we're standing shoulder to shoulder. We're standing here to say that we know that white supremacy is not selective. You can't fight for George Floyd and ignore the hate that's being done in the Asian community. You can't fight for all of the victims unless you fight for every victim.
Here in the city, crimes against Asians are on the rise. So far this year alone, there have been 86 violent incidents against Asian New Yorkers, compared to 19 last year. That's a 353% increase. These are
Looking live toward Oakland, tonight a pair of rappers are teaming up in the Bay Area, but it's not to release a new track. KPIX5's Betty Yu on their message of unity in the wake of recent attacks against Asian people in Oakland and San Francisco. Betty?
Liz, China Mac flew in from New York City just today to have this conversation with rapper Mr. Fab in downtown Oakland, and both have seen the videos. They want to make sure this violence does not create a racial divide between the black and Asian communities.
As a person of a community, we cannot allow anybody to come into our communities and do this to our elderly. You know what I mean? To do this to our grandmothers and our grandfathers. We can't allow that anymore.
Rapper China Mac is talking about the string of vicious attacks against Asian seniors. The pattern of violence has equally disturbed Oakland rapper Mr. Fab.
I could feel the frustration, the rage, the hurt, the hate, and everything that could bring up, man.
In a widely shared Instagram video, Mr. Fab sends a message of unity after seeing video of an unprovoked assault that killed an elderly Thai man in San Francisco. Antoine Watson has pleaded not guilty.
They move at times.
The two rappers met at Fab's Dope Era store in downtown Oakland this evening.
We're having our own conversations within the Asian community, but there's not enough conversations being had with people of other communities, right? specifically with the black community.
Last fall, China Mac led a first ever rally and march called They Can't Burn Us All in San Francisco, prompted by the rise in COVID-related anti-Asian discrimination.
And there are many people that stand in solidarity with us against our adversity and our obstacles that we fight as black people. And here it is, our turn to show that we're in solidarity with our Asian brothers and sisters.
This week, Yahya Muslim was arrested and charged for shoving this 91-year-old to the ground in Oakland, Chinatown.
It is not the conversations of our enemies that worry me. It is the silence of our friends. Things, man, when it's all said and done, it's only one race, and that's the human race.
And Mr. Fab called that fatal San Francisco attack a pure act of senseless violence. Both rappers emphasized the need to teach our younger generation to respect our elders. Live in San Francisco, Betty Yu, KPIX 5.
All right.